Hello everyone, in this video we are gonna have a look at GestureDetector and Inkwell. So what are these two widgets and what can you do with them? We are gonna have a look at them in this video right now. First of all, I'm starting off here with a standard Flutter application, the counter app. We are gonna remove all of the standard code here and start off a new stateless widget. So I'm gonna create a stateless widget over here, and this is gonna be my app. And we are gonna create a new material app over here, and our home location is going to be our gestures demo, which is something that we are gonna create in a moment. Then let's go to our files here. Actually, I already have it here. We have an import of our material.art, and then we have a stateful widget here, and that's basically it. So let me just check here what the problem is over here. Gestures demo. There we go. So that fixed it. And we just have an empty container here. First of all, what is the gesture detector and what can you do with it? Well, the gesture detector that can listen to certain events that are happening on the screen. For instance, if somebody taps on your screen, or they double tap, or they do a long press when they hold down their finger on the screen, that's called a long press. And there's some other things that you can also listen to, like a drag movement when they move in a horizontal direction or a vertical direction. So these are some things that you can listen to, and you can actually do some things in your application with that. First of all, let's look at some demos, right? So I'm gonna create a new text or string here, and I'm gonna call it that text, and this is gonna be just nothing for now, right? And then what we want to have here is the gesture detector. There we go. So some things, as I said before, you can listen to these events and then you get callbacks. And a callback is something like this here, and you can set a variable or act based on that event that is happening. Let's first start off with on tap, for instance, and when this happens, I want to change the value of text to tapped, so we know that something happened here. Then on tapped is expecting a function here, so I'm going to do it like this, and then say set state, and I'm going to change the text to tapped, as I said before. There we go. So what is happening here, whenever somebody taps on a screen, I'm going to do a set state. The set state quickly is that we need to update our state, our text value here. And that's possible because currently we are in a stateful widget. If we were to be in a stateless widget where we can't maintain state, then that would not be working. But we need to use a set state function to let Flutter know that we want to update a text value here. Great. Then we also obviously need something which we can present our text in, and that's why we are gonna have a child here, and this child is gonna be a container. There we go. Let's just remove this here real quick, and this, I'm gonna give it a color, saying for instance the amber accent, and this container is also gonna have a child, and this child is gonna be a center because I want the text to be centered right in the middle. There we go. And the center is also gonna have a text, and this is what we are gonna use to present the text that we have initialized here at the top. So I'm gonna select my variable over there. And then I just want to do some mild modifications to the style of the text. For instance, let's first make a text style here. I want to have a color, a white color for the text. I also don't want too much decoration to my text. And I want to have a font size of 20 or something like that. And let's make it a bold text. There we go. So currently we have our screen here, the container, and it currently says nothing. So normally what we would expect to happen is if we click on the screen now, that the text variable is going to be changed with tapped, and then it's going to be shown on the screener. So if I click on it, you will see that the text here changes to tapped. So that's how we intercept the tap movement. There are some other things that you can also listen to, for instance, when they move their finger away from the screen. Also when they keep holding their finger on the screen, that's then called on tap cancel, that they don't do anything with it. Another thing that we can also intercept is like a double tap, and that works exactly the same. So we start typing here on, and then you see on double tap, and then we can actually just copy this code. We're going to be a bit lazy over here. And then I'm going to say here double tap. I'm going to save it, and if I double tap it, you will see that the text changes to double tap. Another thing what we can do is the long press. So I'm just going to show that as well. And again, we're going to be a bit lazy again. I'm going to copy this text here over and long pressing or something. And when I hold, let me just save that for a second here. And when I now hold it, you will see that it changes to long pressing. So it knows that I'm holding my finger on the screen, or my mouse in this case, and then it knows it's a long press. So these are some things that you can also listen to. The next one that we are gonna have a look at is a drag. And as I said before, the drag, you have two flavors of that. You can have a horizontal drag, or you can have a vertical drag. And that has their own callbacks as well. So if we start here by typing on horizontal, you will see that you have several different events. So when the drag movement starts, you obviously need to have this callback. And here it gets a little bit different. It's also expecting a function here, but this can take a parameter here, and you can have drag start details. Let's call this details for a sec here. And this details basically contains information about your drag movement, like the offset, where are you starting from, what's your position, where you're dragging from, and you can also do stuff with that as well. So let's do a set state again. And this case, I want to do something with my with these details that we have. So let's update text, and then in the text I'm gonna put drag started, and then I'm gonna use these details as I said before. So let's do it like this, and then I want to have the global position. You can have the global position, you can also have the kind of touch that you have here. So let's start with global position. There we go. That should be it. So let me quickly save that here, and let's see if this is working. So if I hold down my mouse button here in the simulator, it would be my finger on my screen on my smartphone, but let's start it like this. And when I start dragging, you will see that it changes to drag started, and then it shows me something. So again, when I change it, it will show me the first value, the position where I started. But as you see, for the rest, nothing happens. So if I would like to have this a bit more dynamic and get updates about my drag movement, there's another callback for that. So then we also have on horizontal drag update, and here we can also copy this over, but you have to be a little bit careful here, because here it is expecting not drag start details, but drag update details. And then let's say here drag still going, or still dragging. It's maybe better. There we go. And I'm gonna save it. And so I'm gonna start my drag movement. And it also thinks it's a long press if I stay on one location, but if I start dragging, you will see that this value is being updated now. So this is the on horizontal drag update callback, which is constantly happening because the drag is the position is constantly changing. And the last one that I want to show you here real quick is then the on horizontal drag end. And we also have our own set of details here. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna copy that over here, and then it's the drag end details. And then I'm gonna say drag ended. And there you don't have the global position. You have some other things like the velocity, but I'm not gonna go in that here. And let me just say, okay, our drag ended at this point. And so when I keep dragging, you will see that these parameters are being updated. But when I stop, you will see, yeah, that had to be drag here. Let's just update that real quick. So then it says drag ended. So it knows that your drag ended. So there are a lot of things that you can do with this gesture detector, which you can listen to these type of events. Okay, so in reality though, a lot of the widgets, they have their own pressed events that you can listen to whenever they click on a button, for instance, stuff like that. But the next thing is also something interesting that I wanted to have a little talk about. It's the Inkwell, and the Inkwell looks a little bit nicer. It has this kind of splash thing going on. So let's start up a new file and see how this Inkwell works, right? Okay, so I'm gonna create a new file here, and I'm gonna call it inkwell demo.dart. And again, I'm gonna import material. There we go. And then we are gonna create a stateful widget again, as we did before. Stateful widget. And I'm gonna call this Inkwell demo. There we go. Okay, let's maybe update this here then as well. Let's say Inkwell demo. And again, we are in our black container as before. So let's start off like we did before. First, a string here to have some text in there, and that's gonna be nothing. I want to do it kind of the same. And here comes an important part. You need to wrap the Inkwell around a widget that is inheriting from the material class. That can be material itself, or it can be a card, or it can be a scaffold, something like this. So this is very important that you need to do that. If you will not do that, you will run into problems, and it will give you errors. So for instance, if I would have a child here in my container, and I'm gonna use a standard Inkwell here, this will give you errors, as you can see. And let's just show that real quick. It says no material widget found. So that's a problem. So we need to have a widget that is inheriting from the material class. Very important, or you're gonna be frustrated. we are going to use a scaffold. This one is inheriting from the material class. And then here we should have a body instead of a child. There we go. So as you can see, now it's working again. All good. So what can we do here? Just as before with the gesture detector, we can also intercept or listen to these events. As I said before, usually these widgets, they have their own listeners for these kind of events. Like the Inkwell also has an on double tap or on long press or on tap, as we have seen before. It doesn't have the drag movement, so this is something that you want to catch with a gesture detector if you want to do something with that in your apps. So let's have an on tap here real quick. We're not going to look at all of the different events because we did that before. And then again, I have to set state to update my text. And then I'm going to say tapped, something like that, as we did before. And I also want to have a child here in my Inkwell. And let's say that we want to have a standard container. There we go. And this time I'm gonna have a different color, like a blue accent color or something like that. And then we also want to have a child in our container. And again, I want to center the text in the middle. And the child here is gonna be my text. And I'm gonna do roughly the same as I did before. So what I will do is I will just go to here to copy over this this text style over here, and I'm gonna say, okay, this is gonna be text, and then there we go. Okay, I see that I'm missing something here. There we go. Okay, so we have our blue container here with our text in the middle. And normally if I click on my screen now, you will see that we get the same action here, that the text is being updated and it says tapped. All right, now you may be wondering, okay, so what's the difference as before? And actually not so much. What we need to do here is we need to change our container to an ink widget, and you will see now that it looks a little bit different. So as you have probably seen on different Android phones using the material design, this is a typical movement that you have there. So some things that you can also change here in the Inkwell is you can also change the highlight color and the splash color that you have here. So in your Inkwell, you can have a highlight color, and let's change that to, for instance, our amber accent color again. Let's have a look at that. So as you can see, if I now click a bit, there's the amber accent color. And if you want to also update the splash color, that's something that you can also do, is like give it a green color, for instance. There you can see that this also has a nice effect. And if you hold it down, it will take over the whole screen. So that's it for the Inkwell demo and the gesture demo. I hope that I've shown you everything that you needed to know about these two widgets. If not, let me know in the comments. I appreciate you viewing this video. I hope you like the content. If you do, please like the video, subscribe, click the bell, leave a comment. I would really appreciate that. Thanks a lot and have a nice day. Bye bye.